Let's take you from Johannesburg to Sharm El Sheikh in Egypt. That's where U.S. President Joe Biden is addressing the COP27 gathering.
Of human ingenuity, we see our mission to avert climate catastrophe and seize a new clean energy economy, not only as an imperative for our present and future, but through the eyes of history. According to the World Meteorological Organization, the past 8 years have been the warmest on record. In the United States, we're seeing historic drought and wildfires in the West, devastating hurricanes and storms in the East. Here in Africa, home to many nations considered most vulnerable to climate change, food insecurity. Hunger follows 4 years of intense drought in the Horn of Africa. Meanwhile, the Niger River in West Africa, swollen because of more intense rainfall, is wreaking havoc on fishing and farming communities. In Nigeria, flooding has recently killed 600 people. 1.3 million more are displaced. Seasonal livestock migration routes have been used for hundreds of years, are being altered, increasing the risk of conflict between herders and local farming communities. The climate crisis is about human security, economic security, environmental security, national security, and the very life of the planet. So today, I'd like to share with you how the United States is meeting the climate crisis with urgency and with determination to ensure a cleaner, safer, and healthier planet for all of us. From my first days in office, my administration has led with a bold agenda to address the climate crisis and increase energy security at home and around the world. We immediately rejoined the Paris Agreement. We convened major climate summits and reestablished. I apologize we ever pulled out of the agreement. We established major economies forum to spur countries around the world to raise their climate ambitions. Last year at COP26 in Glasgow, the United States helped deliver critical commitments that will get 2/3 of the world's GDP on track to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Over the past 2 years, the United States has delivered unprecedented progress at home. Through a generational investment in upgrading our nation's infrastructure, we're making our power grid better able to transmit clean energy, expanding public transit and rail, building nationwide network of electric vehicle charging stations, over 50,000. And this summer, the United States Congress passed and I signed into law my proposal for the biggest, most important climate bill in the history of our country, the Inflation Reduction Act. It includes less than I asked for, but a significant amount, $368 billion to support clean electricity, everything from offshore wind to distributed solar, zero emissions vehicles and sustainable aviation fuels, more efficient electrified buildings, cleaner industrial processes and manufacturing, climate-smart agriculture and forestry, and more. Look, our Department of Energy estimates that the new law will reduce emissions in the United States by about 1 billion tons in 2030, while unleashing a new era of clean energy-powered economic growth. Our investments in technology, from electric batteries to hydrogen, are going to spark a cycle of innovation that will reduce the cost and improve the performance of clean energy technology that will be available to nations worldwide, not just the United States. We're going to help make the transition to a low-carbon future more affordable for everyone, accelerate decarbonation beyond our borders. In fact, the International Energy Agency recently concluded that our significant climate investment will, quote, help turbocharge turbocharge the emerging global clean energy economy. I was reading their quote, sorry. It's going to shift the paradigm for the United States and the entire world. We also ratified the Kigali Amendment to rally the world in phasing down the production and consumption of HFCs, greenhouse gases, that are thousands of times more damaging than carbon dioxide. And just yesterday, the United States became the first government to require that our major federal suppliers disclose their emissions and climate risk and set targets for themselves that are aligned with the Paris Agreement.
U.S. President Joe Biden there speaking at the COP27 climate change conference happening in Sharm El Sheikh in Egypt.